Well, hello there. Welcome to episode 4 of my Truth Seeker podcast. Getting a little more comfortable, getting a little bit better each time, I'm hoping. It's kind of, certainly a challenge, not kind of a challenge. Always loved voice work, but now is my chance to really shine. So, I'm excited. Anyways, let's get into it. Enough of that talk. Today I'd like to talk about... God, I sound like that other guy. Today I want to talk about my hat. I mentioned it a little bit in my first video with talking about the background you see behind me, the upside down flag. Well, my hat, of course, I don't know if you can see it. I'm kind of filming this myself, so I can't zoom in too much. But it says, make racists afraid again. Originally, I got the hat, saw someone interviewed on TV, and thought it was cool. So I got it. 2016, probably somewhere around the election or shortly thereafter. So I got the hat. Always thought I thought it was good from the beginning. The whole play on "Make America Great Again," make racists afraid again. What does that mean? It means racists aren't afraid right now. They see themselves as having tacit approval from on high, and so they can all come out of the woodworks and do all the extreme stuff that they've always talked about. I mean, it's terrible. It's not what this country's supposed to be about. So that's kind of a, real basic meaning of what it is. Make them afraid again. Make them afraid to come out in the open, kind of like how it used to be. There's one type of person that deserves to be shoved back in the closet. It's racists. I don't think anybody would disagree. Unless, of course, you're a racist. Then you might not like that, yeah. So... I've always loved wearing this hat. I've worn it for years. It's kind of dirty, but I think that adds to the character of it. I've gotten lots of good looks, dirty looks. People who are on the conservative side of things look at me at first and think it's a Trump hat and go, oh, you're okay. And then read it and go, hey, wait a minute. And then the people on the other side of things are like, hey, that's a Trump hat. And then a minute later are like, hey, that means something different. So I knew when I was kind of upsetting both groups of people that I was kind of on the right track with something. I fully believe what it says, what it stands for, of course, but one of the problems with racism to begin with, and I mean, I know I'm a white guy and I have no real, I have no real place to speak about it, although I think we all do because we all take part in certain aspects. Growing up Jewish, I certainly went through my fair share of anti-Semitic stereotypes. Jokes being tossed around like they're funny, and don't get upset, it's just a joke. I'm sure anybody out of a non-majority group can relate to that. So I started wearing this hat because I thought it was funny, thought it was good, but also it got me to think. I mean, what's the problem with racism in the first place? Thinking somebody is something that they're not. An overview, a generalization, and you're assuming, make an ass out of you and me, So I knew that when I started getting bad looks from both people, I knew, because racism is, seeing somebody something they're not, that wearing the hat serves two purposes. It serves the purpose of, putting out a strong message out there that's saying we won't tolerate this racist bullshit that's being shoved in our faces from all corners. Not that this country hasn't always had a history of that. I know there's a lot of arguments to back that up, and I'm one person who would undoubtedly be making them. But the one thing we can't forget is that we're not there yet. We're not there yet. Another reason why I wear this hat. But it's funny because a lot of the so-called liberal class, of which I'm probably a member if somebody were to, label me, which I think is a big part of the problem, is that too quick to judge. Of course, then I don't think that's a simply liberal trait. I don't think it's a simply conservative trait. I think it's just a trait. It's stuff people do when they want to just take the quick overview. They want to skim the book. They want the cliff notes. Okay? Well, the world isn't about cliff notes. The world isn't about skimming through. The world isn't about cheating off someone else's freaking test. The world is about what's real. And what's real is that people all over the place assume things all the time that aren't true. Think a whole group of people acts a certain way, or a certain person acts a certain way, or don't do this because that other person will do that. And I can't get ahead even though I work my ass off because of them. I mean, we're not realizing that all this is coming down from, the people on top that want to control us all in the first place. They don't give a shit who wins. They'll back anybody. They just need us to keep fighting. Because then we won't slow down, see what they're up to, and realize that our effort and our energy could be much better spent fighting against them. Uniting. We all have the same needs. I mean, yeah, everybody wants to have money. But when they talked about the, in the Occupy Wall Street days about the 1%, if you broaden that out a little more and say 2%. 2% of this country is the people that make over $250,000. Okay? So that means 98% of America make under that. You know how many more of us that there are than there are of them? And that's only the 2%. If you go into the 1/10 of 1% and all that with billions of dollars in offshore accounts in the Caymans and Ireland and Liechtenstein and Luxembourg and all these other places, it's not the same. It's time we end this two-tiered system we have for the people at the top and the rest. Our two-tiered justice system, which is something I'm sure I'll be talking about in future episodes. But we need to make racists afraid again, not by violence. Because I've seen shirts and things around before, punch your local Nazi. And growing up Jewish, believe me, there's probably nothing that would bring me greater joy. However, that's not the answer. Why do people become things like that? They're not born with hate, they're taught it. And why do they glean towards it? Well, it's either through a parent or a relative. Or maybe because they're, don't feel accepted by their family or their peers. And so they're outcasts. This is how people join gangs. Joining a racist group is no different. I mean, the concept is the same. What they do is probably a little different, but not really too much. I mean, besides, racial attacks. But let's get back to the point here. The point is that we have to show love where we can. There's humans everywhere. We need to keep things at a human level with human conversation. Yes, I may have my opinions, but all I want to do is poke through the fog. We need to make racists afraid to come out in public. We can't just, accept the fact that, people can do racist shit and be, and have all kinds of laws taken out and basically be given the broad strokes of what their new world order they want to look like is. We are not the white Christian country that everybody thought we were. I mean, hell, half the founders weren't even religious. That was the point. It's the whole point of getting away from England, not to be controlled. So what do you say? Let's go out there. Let's not be controlled. Let's think for ourselves. Let's be human to each other. And making racists afraid again will basically be, they will never be fully deleted. But we can make them the crazy street preacher on the corner again. Or we basically ignore them. We know they're there, but we ignore them. Nobody really cares. It's about the best we'll be able to do. Won't be able to fully disappear it from our lexicon. But what we can do is just make it so unacceptable that people know that they can't do it in public. Yes, they'll feel shunned. Yes, they'll be put in a corner. And yes, there may be some diehards that will be extremely hard to reach or may not be able to be reached. But the vast, vast majority will see through all the bullshit. The bullshit that we're being taught to fight against each other is the same bullshit that's ground in their head that somebody else is different. I mean, they claim to not want a government to control them, but that's exactly what they're doing. The government is programming that language into their heads. So let's think for ourselves. Let's be human. Let's love each other. I mean, is that such a hard thing to ask? I love this country. Love my family. Love my friends. But I love what we can become when we finally accept each other and love each other as ourselves, see each other in ourselves, and truly come together to make this world the better place we all know it can be. So every time I wear this make racists afraid again hat, see, I can't even say it without thinking of the other thing. When I wear this make racists afraid again hat, I've had many good conversations. But it's basically to show that that's the problem with racism in the first place, is seeing somebody as something they're not. So let's take authenticity, take everything with a grain of salt, yes. But we need to take things for what they are, not what we think they are. What's in front of our face? What does our soul tell us? What does our heart tell us? And what does our mind tell us? But do the heart and soul thing first. Well, there'll be many more things to talk about. We are all one in this country. No one can tear us apart except us. Do we want to tear each other apart? Have just cops shooting people and people shooting everybody? And do we want that? Do we want something better? How do we get that? We love each other. See each other in ourselves. I'm reminded of a story. Well, that might have to wait till next time. Anyway, I can't express how happy I am to do this. I want to talk to you more. I want to talk to more people. I want to just show everyone how we can come together. We can love each other. We can do all the things that we want. But we have to understand what we've been through. Why we're at where we're at. Once we acknowledge that, then we can become better. Racism has no place in this country, has no place anywhere else. If you're against the rights of people, period, full stop, end of sentence, you will lose. History shows you will lose. Let's all get on the winning side of history and push it over the finish line. Well, Until next time, I love you all, and we'll talk soon. Remember to like and share this video and hit the subscribe button. Links for all my social media, my website, and where to buy my books are in the description below. Love and gratitude will find a way. We just have to keep the conversations going. See you all soon.